contracts seem to, even where it used to be that once when you got under contract, it was a pretty safe bet that you were going to go to closing. And not so much anymore. I mean, looking at some statistics here where it used to be around 10% that a contract that was, would fail, that was under contract, right? And now it's up to closer to 33%. So what's some of your read on that?
A couple of points that kind of ring out. One is the fact that lending is still very challenging today.
Yeah.
Although borrowers come in, prospective buyers, with pre-approvals, it's not until they really delve in and provide all the written income verification, assets, etc. That becomes a trial sometimes with not getting too far into it, but debt ratios, front-end, back-end ratios, and qualifications. Plus you also have a situation of actual appraisals. We're finding the appraisals, because we're starting to have more sales, not be as challenging as they were in the past. So that's a more positive sign. That's why I think what you find is a little bit of a decline in that situation,
it's a little bit of improvement,
which is a more positive sign. But something that also rings very heavy and loud, and that's the case of a lot of inspection items, especially on the older homes where you have items such as nearing life expectancies, etc., etc. They become trials and tribulations, because the sellers, of course, feel that they've sold their home at a lower number than they wished. Now they're requested to renegotiate, and the buyer, of course, feels, because it's still, quote-unquote, their buyer's market, that they have more, again, opportunity to ask for things. So we have always that yin and a yang. We always say in our office here, and we bring it up on all constantly, is that going from under contract status to close is where you need the expertise of a realtor to assist in trying to make and facilitate and have this all work out, because that's the everyday challenge that we're coming across today.
Absolutely, and
you're seeing it too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had clients where we were able to get under contract for a house where they admittedly were getting the house for less than what the buyer paid for it, and the buyer knew the market. But then going through a home inspection, they found a buried oil tank, properly abandoned, but the seller didn't know it was there. We believe them, but the buyer didn't want to buy a house with a tank in it, and so they weren't able to resolve their issues, and to remove it, I think they were saying between $2,500 and $3,000, but the seller, I mean, he was already feeling the pain. He didn't want to do it, the buyers didn't want to do it, and the deal was dead.
Yeah, unfortunately, it may be a challenge for that seller going forward for the next buyer.
Yeah, absolutely. But as you were saying, and probably the most important point is making sure you have a realtor who can set out those expectations ahead of time. And to manage, pretty much they're like your quarterback for everything. Manage all the details. Just because you're under contract doesn't mean you're going to get to closing, and a realtor needs to stay on top of that to make sure.
Way you put it, getting downfield.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Getting closing.